You're listening to the Dirt School Podcast. I'm your host, Casey Johnson, and if you like hunting, fishing, country stories, and learning lessons from those who live their lives in rural America, you're going to love this podcast. Brought to you by Hunt Real Outdoors. All right, guys, welcome back to the Dirt School Podcast. Tonight we've got special guests with us, Mr. Mike Marino. Mike, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I appreciate you being here tonight, man. Mike is the owner of Marino Decoys, and he was a children's pastor. He's still in ministry today, and of course, we'll hear a little bit about that. But, Mike, if you don't mind, just kind of tell us where you're from and how you got to the place that you are right now with Marino Decoys.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Pueblo, Colorado. Lived here all my life. And my dad taught me how to shoot and things like that. And I saw, duck hunting shows. I'm like, I really want to try that. And so I started doing that, and I was kind of hooked ever since. And so kind of fast forwarding, I was in children's ministry for 5 years, and being in kids ministry, it will do a lot of things to you, right? It will change your life in a good way, but I needed an out, right? I needed a hobby. And so I ordered some decoys, and I got them in, and they were GoldenEye decoys, and I got them in, and I'm like, these are the ugliest things I've ever seen. I just like, what? I'm like, that doesn't look like the real thing. So I was just researching, guys were carving decoys, and I stumbled upon a video of, I YouTubed it, how to carve a decoy. And so I watched how this guy did it. His name's Tom Christie. He's a world champion decoy carver. And so I went out, got a piece of cedar, and I got a DeWalt drill and a bit, and I started hacking things away that didn't look like a duck. And at the end of it, I had something that looked like a chicken. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And so I just got obsessed with it. I just got obsessed of making it look like the real thing, because I'm like, well, man, that doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. So I just became obsessed with it. And like, man, my wife is so great because she supports me in everything I do. And I would come in, when I first started carving, I was in the garage with a shop vac. And I was sitting there carving after I figured out, like, I got to get some cork and some Tupelo wood and things. And I would come running in. I'm like, take a look at this. And she was just like, that looks great. And I'm like, you are the best. And so, so that's kind of how I started carving. I started doing it for myself. And some guys helped me out along the way. And I had a buddy's dog that passed away. And I'm like, hey, would you mind if I put some of his ashes in a decoy so you can take him hunting? And he's like, you would? I'm like, yeah. Wow. So I started doing that. And lo and behold, guys wanted more and more and more. And so I was pastoring and then carving till about 2:30 in the morning, and it was crazy. And I took my watch off, so I didn't know what time it was.
Right.
And so, but we ended up having another son. And so we have 3 kids. I have my first son, he's 7. My daughter's just turned 5. And my youngest son, he just turned 9 months old. And so, during that time, I really did see God like in a transition of things, because I mean, don't get me wrong, like ministry takes a lot. And so I was gone on the weekends and things like that. And, the Bible does call us, like, our first ministry is our family. Yeah. And so, my wife and I kind of decided that, like, hey, we kind of need to figure some things out. And lo and behold, like, it just happened. And so I was like, I think I'm just going to carve decoys. How about that? And I said, listen, I said, God has given me this gift. And first of all, I don't have an artistic bone in my body. I've never I don't know what color theory is. I don't know how to spell that. Like, I don't know how to read a tape measure kind of thing. Like, I mean, it just happened. And, there were some other carvers that were like really encouraging me, and they're like, man, hey, you have a gift. And so I really like leaned into that. And my wife and I, we were coming back from, it will be a year in July. where we were coming back from the Ducks Unlimited Expo in Memphis, Tennessee, and I said, man, I think God's like pulling me this way, um, and she kind of was just like, oh yeah, maybe. And now listen, my wife has discernment. Like when the
Right.
Bible says that God created us, like for us a helper, like
Yeah.
for sure, she's my helper. And so I was like, well, okay, let's come up with like a name. And I was like, how about Marino Decoys? And I said, but I want it to be something different. Like I don't want it to be like gunning decoys and waterfowl art and all this stuff. I said, man, there's a mission here. And she said, how about she said, how about just one more? And I'm like, what? I'm like, wait, hold on a second. I said, that's perfect. And I said, why did you say just one more? And I remember we were in Kansas at that point in time. I remember it like it was yesterday. And she said, well, in Matthew, Jesus talks about like leaving the 99
Yeah.
for the one. And I'm like, bingo.
Yeah.
And I said, man, how many duck hunters or hunters can relate to like, man, I just need one more bird, right? I
Yeah.
just need one more bird for a limit, or like deer hunting, like you, right? Like, hey, I just need one more hour. Like, I just need, man, he's gonna step out in one more hour.
Yeah.
Or guys are like, man, I just wish I could have my dad or on one more hunt.
One more hunt. Yeah.
And so my whole business is built around just one more, and it's just leading one more person to Christ through these decoys.
Yeah.
And it was kind of taking a step of faith. Honestly, it's like, hey, listen, I don't know how we're gonna pay the bills or whatever, but I'm just gonna go out in the shop and carve decoys. Like that's all I'm gonna do. And my wife's like that control freak where it's like, hey, I'll be the first to say, like, she handles the money. I don't, like,
Yeah.
just give me my $20 for the week and like
Yeah.
I'll be fine, kind of thing. Like, I don't care. Like, hey, if I need new underwear, like go buy it for me
Yeah.
or something,
Come
I
by
guess.
for me.
But
Yeah.
yeah, please. And so and that was it. And so I said, listen, I want to see God work. Like I really do, because like I think about this, how many hunters are out there that like that don't know Jesus, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And and I was pouring into all these kids, which, man, I love them. I was like, it was like 500 a weekend, and so like you would just pour it all out to these kids, and I'm like, okay, but what about that person who's in the blind on Sunday?
Yeah.
What about that? I mean, and so people are like, oh, you're becoming the next Duck Dynasty. I was like, time out. I'm like, I don't build duck calls. I'm like, I
Yeah.
just build the decoys. So,
Yeah.
um, and in all reality, like it has taken me places to where I never thought God would have taken me
Yeah.
through a duck, man,
Yeah.
through a duck.
Yeah.
And I told my wife this, and I said, listen, if God can make a donkey talk, I said he can use a duck to change someone's life.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's just it. So every day, like I go out there and I pray, like, God, just send me one more person, like just send
Yeah.
me one more order.
Yeah.
And man, he's faithful. And so what month is it? So I've been doing this now full time for 5 months. I've only
Wow.
been doing this full time for 5 months. And man, God is definitely not he's showing up every time, man,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
time.
Well, let me ask you this on backtrack a little, just a little bit to
Yeah.
like when you first got started doing it, like say on a full time level, you stopped doing the ministry part, at least from the children's ministry perspective. Uh,
Hmm.
like when you just you left out and you said, okay, I'm just going to carve ducks. I'm going to try to make a run at this. Like, how did it start happening for you? Like, was it at like shows and people were buying, or people were calling you, or like how did it transpire getting started? Like,
Yeah.
how did you see? Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I Years ago, I was pastoring a little church, and I just felt the Lord calling me to go into vocational evangelism and just travel and preach. And I talked to one of my friends who had do revivals at our church a lot, and I said, how far out in advance are you booked? And he was like, about 2 years. He'd been doing it a long time. And I was like,
Oh,
man. He said, how far are you? And I said, like 2 weeks. And he says, is God staying ahead of you like every 2 weeks? Like you're always got something 2 weeks? I said, yeah. And he said, well, you just as booked as I am. God's
Uh-huh.
just only giving it to you 2 weeks at a time. He's giving it to me 2 years, but he's staying
100%.
ahead of you. So, how did God really work that out for you at the beginning, and how did it just kind of pile up?
Yeah, great question. So I was just posting all my stuff on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all that other stuff, and so I was getting orders from there, and then as it started getting more and more like me just being a simple man, I'm like, man, what did that guy order again? Like, and so I had got my website up and all that other stuff, and so um, when we left, I had to go to Arkansas to deliver. I told her his name was Chris Aiken, and he was the first person that ordered 2 dozen from me. And
Mm.
I'm like, what? 2 dozen decoys? I'm like, that's gonna suck to sand, but like that's awesome. Like I'm
Yeah.
all about it. So I said, hey man, I would love to hand deliver these to you. Like I'm not asking to hunt. Like I want to personally like hand them to you. He's like, well, if you're gonna come down this way, might as well hunt. I'm like, I'm not
Okay.
gonna ask you. I'm not gonna ask you. Okay. So I went down there so that was my like first big trip. And then as I got back, I just more orders started coming in, and then right when I went to South Carolina, I had a buddy of mine, Joey D'Amico, from Tecton Game Calls. He asked me to carve a decoy for the Seaweed convention, and I said, "Yeah, man, absolutely." He's like, "Why don't you come down and present it?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Well, I was on an airplane, 30,000 feet in the air, and I just like I feel like the enemy gets to you when you're alone and you're like
Hmm.
by your thoughts because it all
Yep.
starts in the mind. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I can't raise 3 kids off of decoys. Like, how am I'm like, this is a mistake. I'm like, and I told God, 30,000 feet in the air, I said, I think you made a mistake. I said, I think I'm going to go get a real, quote unquote, real job. Um, and so I had another plane ride, and on that plane ride, I had a thought. I'm like, man, maybe I should, reach out to people, and I'll post this ad on Facebook for guys to pre-order their decoys for this coming hunting season. And man, I can't. I had like 50 responses. It was like, boom, boom, boom. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to be like, okay, I guess I'll just shut up and carve the decoys, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like how it started. And so like what you were talking about is like staying, like God is always ahead of you, and God's going to give you what like you can handle at this point in time, but He's gonna give you a little bit more than what you can handle to grow you.
Yeah.
And so these orders for dog urns and gunning decoys started like pouring in, and I'm like, oh man, I mean, it humbled me. I mean,
Yeah.
it humbled me. And so I was like, how am I going to do all this? I'm like, so like as of right now, I have 172 decoys to carve, just like
Man.
as of right now. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And I'm like, just one decoy at a time, I
Yeah.
guess. And
Yeah.
so and so that's kind of where how it just I'm telling you, like it exploded, because I was like, God, if you do not want me to do this, like I'm okay. Like, and I even asked my wife, I'm like, do you feel like I will go get a job right now? Like, I mean, McDonald's is hiring and I can flip some burgers, like whatever it is, right? And she just said, she's like, no, she's like, I feel like this is what you need to be doing. And like that's when I knew too. But we always get this like doubt in our mind, right?
Sure. Sure.
Like and obviously like doubt doesn't come from God, and obviously good gifts come from God. And this is a gift, like again, not knowing anything about anything, man. And so I've been doing this now for like 2 years. I've only
Yeah.
been doing it for for
Yeah.
for, for 2 years.
Yeah.
um so
Isn't it funny how I was teaching on this here a while back. The disciples, Jesus was teaching them certain things, and the disciples were like, he'd already done so much for them. He'd already done so
yeah,
much for them. He'd already showed them so much. And they were like, if you'll just show
yeah.
us this, if you'll just do this. And God's got to be like, man, I done showed you like 650 things, bro.
Yeah,
I'm real. Just trust me.
yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and
Yeah.
to piggyback on that, like once I just I was like, okay, God, like that's what I'm going to do. And I said, and I told my wife, I said, man, no matter what, we're to give God what's God's, right? Like
Right.
we're still going to give him our first and our very best.
Yeah.
And I said, and he's going to take care of the rest. And like, man, we got kids in daycare. I got a kid in daycare. We got kids going to school. We got this. I'm like, how are we going to pay for all of it? My wife was just like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. That's not my problem. I'm like, that's his problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and carve
I'm gonna
carve
carve
decoys,
decoys.
and like I'm going to go out and fulfill the orders. And the thing is, people, like, I tell people this, like, everyone's like, man, I live by faith. I'm like, yeah, that's cool and that's great. I'm like, but when you wake up going, man, when you have to solely depend on him for like your next check, right? Like
Yeah.
your next whatever, like it takes it to a whole different level to
Sure.
where, yeah, like sure, do I get worries and fears sometimes, of course, because I'm
Sure.
human,
You're human. Yeah.
but it's the point to where like I can go out and have peace going, like I might not get an order for 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay. And
Yeah.
and the thing is like, then it just happens. Right. And that's the crazy thing about all this. Like, I was thinking like, man, I'm doing something that like, if I fall flat on my face, then I knew it was from me. But if I do this crazy thing that doesn't make sense whatsoever, and it actually works, the only explanation is but God.
That's
Like
right.
that is it. And like and that's what's happened, man. And
Yeah.
it's cool because, man, again, people are like, well, how are you still doing ministry, man? So I started this thing called Duck Devos, right? On so I post one about every week. And first of all, it started off with like carving topics. Like I would be carving, and like this thought would pop into mind, like, man, this is how God removes sin from our life. Like I'm removing this wood to reveal what's inside, and all this other stuff. So I tried to apply it to the hunter, and now it's just like, it's just topics where it's like this last week I posted about where James in Acts chapter 15 verse 19, he's like, man, why are we making so hard for Gentiles to come to church, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and so I mean, it's just different things like that. And so I'm still doing ministry that way because like there's an unreached group of people out there that are hunters.
Yeah.
And man, I can't tell you how many times I've been in the blind and where, I'm throwing out decoys or whatever. And, everyone gets in. And so right before the first flight and everyone's like cussing or whatever. And they're
Yeah.
like, hey, like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a pastor and I carve decoys. And they're like, I'm like, why are you, I'm like, why are
Yeah.
you upset?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
why?
I cuss.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not offended.
Yeah.
I'm like, trust me, I'm not offended because I'm like, if these birds do it right, I might say something. I said,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. I know I'm a sinner in needing of saving. And
Yeah.
so, man, and I tell people like, they're like, you're a pastor and you have tattoos. Like I got like 2 leg sleeves. And,
Yeah.
I never, people are like just now, like, you have tattoos. I'm like, yeah, man, I've had them for a
Had
while,
them for a
like
long
I
time. Yeah.
actually just got a new one for my son. Like, and,
Yeah.
and it's all of like my kids and my wife and stuff. And I'm like, listen, and they're like, you're a pastor. I'm like, yeah, I'm a real guy. Like
Yeah.
I'm a real guy in needing of real saving, like just
Yeah.
like you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just who I am. Like I'm real, I'm raw, and I try to be relatable to people, duck hunters, because man, at the end of the day, I tell people this when I go and if people ask me to preach or something, which is great. It's cool. I love doing it because I'm like, we're gonna talk about ducks, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
what? I'm like, let me explain.
Yeah.
See, like in Genesis, in the beginning, God said, let there be light, let there be animals, let there be the pintails and whitetail and elk and bear and all these animals. And then you flip one page and then it says, God said, let us make man in our own image. And man, I've read that 1,000 times, but it wasn't until I was carving where I realized it said, God, let us make man. God said, let us make man in our own image. And then it said that he got down and he formed us from the dust of the ground and he breathed the breath of life right into us. we are the only thing that God got his hands dirty with.
Mm, mm.
Man, we are it hit me like that. Like,
His masterpiece.
that's just it. And then it just, man, it went from there. I'm like, we are the only thing that God got his hands dirty with. Dude, he spoke these things into existence,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And here I am trying to replicate what he created, like the iridescent colors on a drake mallard or a wood duck or whatever it is. And I'm like, he loves those things because he created them. Yet he got his he's the only we are the only thing that he actually stood up and got off of his throne with, right?
yeah.
Like he did that for us. And so I take a look at these decoys. I'm like, man, what would happen if I like shot one in the face, which I have, by the way. It's
Hmm.
fine. And so I'm like, what would happen if I lost one or it went downriver? I'm like, I'd be chasing after it. I'm like, what's the same thing what God's doing with us? Like, man, because we messed up and because we sinned, God sent Jesus on a rescue mission for us
Yeah,
to save us, to get back the thing that he created.
yeah,
And it's so simple,
yeah.
right? It's so simple, man.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole idea of reconciliation is something that should have been together all along, being separated, but being brought back together. And that's what Jesus
100%.
does for us. He brings us back together with the Father, which is where we should have been in the first place. You know?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
and then we had to go screw it up.
yeah, that's
But
right.
man, that's just it. Like I love this. I
Yeah.
love it, and you know, like on every single decoy, like there's a so this is a simple gunner black deck that I just finished up today. And so on the underside of bottom of the keel, like that you will find on every single one of my decoys is a nictus. Like
Yeah.
because you know what's so weird is that everyone picks up a decoy and they're like, "What's on the bottom?" You know, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, right, right.
that's a perfect spot to put that. You
Yeah,
know, because I get people like, "Hey, what's this fish?" or like, "What
yeah.
does just one more mean?" And I'm like, "You asked."
Yeah,
So
here we go. Here we
there
go.
we
Well,
go.
good
So
conversation piece, man.
well,
I mean, it
it
opens up a
is.
gospel conversation. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think about like this, like that we are all, whether you're pastoring a church, whether you're a congregant, whether you're man, just a guy carving decoys and sniffing paint all day, I guess. Like we are shepherds, right?
yeah,
And there's sometimes that like a sheep a sheep goes away, a sheep gets
right.
lost,
Yeah,
and it's like and that's just all I'm trying to do. Like I don't care if I carve for the rest of my life and I I just bring one person. Like
yeah,
that's all that matters to me.
yeah.
You know, I was doing some research. There was like over like a million some odd people that bought waterfowl license last year. Like over a
Wow.
million. I'm like, dang, everyone
Yeah.
needs a decoy. And
Hmm.
so but I was thinking about this. I'm like, man, what if one person, right?
Yeah,
Like that's all I'm after. Just like we're after that, like one more bird for a limit. Like
yeah,
I'm just after one more person.
yeah. That's
And
good stuff.
so yeah, man.
Yeah,
And that's not like I'm not that smart to come up with that. So
yeah,
that is not me, man.
yeah, yeah. Well, the Lord's using it, sounds like, and that's pretty awesome.
Man, he is.
Let me ask you a technical duck question,
Yeah,
I guess, as far as your
yeah.
decoys are concerned. How long does it take you to make one of those decoys?
That's a great question. So now that I have a lot to carve, um, so one I could carve one in a day to get it to like this stage right here. This is a golden eye drake that
Okay.
I'm doing for someone. It's hollowed
Yeah.
out, so it's it's hollowed out, ready to go. So like this is a day, and then I would go in and like do a final sand, make sure you know the head's super smooth, um, cut any feather bumps or whatever in, and then seal it up, and then paint it, which I can paint a golden eye in probably I would say like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay.
So
So
um,
does that start, is that court? cork
Yeah, so
on the bottom?
correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So it's all out of like
Okay.
high
Okay.
density
Yeah.
cork like this,
Yeah.
and so I take it, put my pattern on it, cut it out, and then I cut all my heads out of Tupelo, so super soft wood, and so I cut all my heads out, and draw, like, I take measurements and make sure. Now I carve quote unquote gunning decoys. I get too into it because I'm like, it doesn't look. I want it to look like the real
Perfect.
thing because
Yeah.
that's why I got into it.
Right.
And so it starts out like this, and then it ends up something like
Oh,
this,
wow. Wow.
um,
Golly.
to where so I got the eyes in, I got the bill and the nostrils, and things like that, and then that's when I'll stick it on the cork body, do that final sanding, seal it really well because cork does absorb water
Right. Yeah.
quickly. And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
figured that out when I first started carving. I'm like, I got this bird done. And I'm like, I have so many golden eyes in my shop that are like swelled up and paint cracked because I didn't, seal it right and stuff. And
Right.
so, I mean, I got a lot better at sealing decoys. And so, and then this one, just a little green wing teal hen. This one I carved two of them. I carved two of them because it was like 3 days before teal season. I'm like, let's see how much stress I can put on myself. And so I ended up carving two green wing teal hen, and I took them out opening day and hunted them. And I hunted them once, and I gave, this one is actually my mother's. Yeah, this one's my mom's, because she loves hens. She
Yeah.
she thinks it looks like cheetah print. Okay, and so I'm like, here, mom. Dude, I know that's just my mom, dude. Like, I'm like, cheetah print. I'm like, that doesn't even look like a cheetah, you know?
Yeah.
She's like, it's just so pretty. I'm like, here, mom, have
Yeah.
this. And so
Yeah. You can have the duck.
so I have her decoy because I got back from Arkansas from Callapalooza, so I was like, I need to borrow that decoy.
Yeah.
But and then the other one I gave to a friend of mine who took some pictures and stuff for me. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so like right now, essentially my schedule is so tight to where like Monday I'm carving all the bodies,
Yeah.
um, and so I do about a dozen a week.
Yeah.
So I carve all the bodies. Next day I do all the heads, insert the eyes, get the heads attached, do a final sand on Wednesday, seal it up on Thursday, start texturing and painting on Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. Wow, man. So
So
just a complete system you got figured out to make it work
yeah,
fast as possible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I know, like, a lot of guys are, hey, where's my decoys? I'm like, hey man, like I told you, like everyone's pre-ordering it, right? Everyone should be pre-ordering, and I'm like, you will not see these decoys till like
Right.
September.
Yeah.
And that's just because well, first of all, I didn't think I was going to get that many orders,
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
and it just exploded. And what's cool now is a couple asked me who's getting married at the end of September. They talked to me about doing, how everyone signs like a book, like,
Uh-huh.
hey, and I'm like, yeah, I remember that book. It's somewhere in the attic, I guess. Like, and
Yeah.
so
Right.
I'm like, they're like, hey, would you do one where people can sign it? I'm like, heck yeah. I'm like, that
Yeah.
would be cool. One, because it's going to be displayed. You can see it forever. So they're doing a Drake hen and mallard. And so essentially I'm doing it almost just like this, to where I'll paint the Drake, paint the hen, do a little bit of feathers, but then like leave it blank so people can go and carve, and sign their name on it.
Yeah.
And so I got, I've been doing, like I said, a bunch of dog urns. I just had the honor and privilege of doing. His name was Rhett Reynolds. He owned this dog named Crown, and this was the first dog ever to pick up all 42 species of waterfowl.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty
so
awesome.
he wanted a cinnamon teal, so I just did a cinnamon teal for him, and
Wow.
it's crazy. Yeah, um, I'm gonna I'll let you in on a little secret. I won't tell you who just yet, because I have uh, I will be revealing it next month.
Okay.
I got a special order in for some black belly whistler ducks. Um, I
Yeah.
guess I guess there's a season open
Well,
you guys have.
I'm gonna say this. They are opening a season this year on those here. So
Correct, and that's what
yes,
those are for.
I be.
Um, I had someone. I'm not going to name names. I had someone who approached me and asked and I actually saw that they were hunt them, that no one has decoys for them. I'm like,
No.
let me carve them for you.
Yeah.
And so graciously, I just offered to carve them for him. So I'm going to be dropping that. It will be at the Ducks Unlimited Expo. I'm going to be
Okay.
hand delivering them to the Ducks Unlimited Expo. So uh, they're the goofiest looking birds, man.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't even know
and
what that looks like.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it
I'm
looks like a guinea. It
yeah.
looks like a guinea mixed with like a peacock
Yeah.
with a little bit of mallard in it. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
weird bird, but but uh, but yeah. So because I even researched now, I'll be very honest with you. I have never carved one before.
Yeah.
I've never shot one before. Um, it, but I even, man, I went on YouTube. I even looked up on like black belly whistling duck decoys. I'm like, is there? And there's none out there.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so, so yeah, I'm gonna start carving those.
Man, that's pretty cool there, man. And I
Yeah,
can guess, I can make guesses of who that is, but yeah,
yeah,
I'll
we can
be
talk
excited.
about that offline.
Yeah, I'll be excited.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll be
yeah.
excited about that. So yeah.
But and you know that's and I was just gonna say that's just it, man. Like and I say that not to brag. I say that because God puts you in places,
Yeah.
right, at certain times for for opportunities and things like that. Um, and like I was telling my wife, I said, man, if I would have stopped carving decoys and I wouldn't have done this and gone here and did this and met this person and did that and and the whole time it's like the Bible says, like God directs our footsteps.
That's right.
And like, and that is it. And I'm like, and sometimes like we don't want to go here. Like we
Right.
don't want to do this, but yet we do to be obedient. And man, God's just open up doors. And so, and I'm a one man band. Like I do it all.
Right. Yeah.
I do it all. So
You're a busy man.
yeah, with three kids and a wife, and so I told my wife, say it's weird being at home, you know,
Yeah.
um, uh, but man, I have a schedule that I will give credit to my buddy Joey D'Amico because he's like, I was like, how do you do it, man? He's like, I work off of 5 to 9, 9 to 5, 5 to 9, and so that's what I've been doing. Like I get up at 5, I go out to the shop. I read my Bible. I get stuff prepped for the day. I come back in, make the kids breakfast, and then once they leave, I go back out. And once 9 o'clock hits, like it's all carving from there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you like when people order when people order like the decoys, like how many do they usually order at a time? Like do you have a lot of people order one or do you have people order a dozen, six? What how do they order them?
Yeah, so a lot of people will either order one or a couple,
Yeah.
um, but and it really just depends. So like I have singles, I have half dozen, dozen, 2 dozen, and so it really just depends on what what they're wanting, what they're needing,
Right.
and I tell everyone like, hey, listen, would I love it if everyone ordered 2 dozen? Sure, but at the
Yeah.
same time, that's almost like nauseating because I'm like, that's a lot of sanding.
Yeah, right, right.
But
Yeah.
I tell people like, hey, listen, I'm not after. So like one decoy is $250.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and people are like, that's expensive. I'm like, but it will last you. I guarantee you, it will last you longer than those plastics.
Yeah. And it's
And
extremely
one,
custom decoy.
custom, yeah.
Yeah.
So like I do like and I engrave like names of dogs on there, or like people have. I had a buddy who bought a greater scop for his other buddy. I'm like, hey man, that's really awesome. Like, would you like his name engraved? He's like, yeah, please. And so it is a custom shop. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
very, it's all me. Like, that's why it's a merino decoy. Like, it
Sure.
is touched by me. And
Yeah.
so, but yeah, you know, I tell everyone, like, man, I just want everyone to have one. Like,
Yeah.
just to have one out in the spread is
Yeah.
just cool.
Yeah.
Um, to have, I had my last delivery was in Nebraska. Chris Jobman, another amazing dog trainer. He's super supportive of me, and I did an earn for his son's dog that passed, and he's like, "Hey, I want a dozen of them." And so I was like, "Man, I'll you know, you're 4 hours away. I'll just bring them to you." And so he graciously offered for me to stay and hunt for like 4 days. And that was some of the best duck hunting in my life, because
Yeah.
Colorado had no ducks this year. And we shot like a 7-man limit over those decoys. And I didn't, and to be honest with you, I didn't shoot the first couple of times, um, just because I like to watch.
Yeah.
I'm like, these birds are coming into the things that I made. Like, it's just and I tell people, like, and Chris kind of coined the phrase. It's the merino. It's like it's an experience, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I just want everyone to have that experience.
Sure.
And so whether it's with their son, daughter, dad, whatever, uh, groom's gifts, you know, like they're cool, because like you could get a decoy, and like, you know, for a groom's gift or whatever, someone gives you a decoy for your birthday. Yeah, you'll hunt it, but like, you'll always remember that, right? Like, you'll
Yeah. Right.
always remember that.
Yeah.
And so, so yeah, people order really whatever they want.
Yeah. Right.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Cool, man. That and
yeah,
well, I mean, that's what makes like 149 sound like holy cow. That's a lot of
yeah,
carving. It takes a day
yeah.
to tell. I mean, that's a lot of carving, man.
Lot of carving. I just posted a video yesterday. I did a dozen mallards, and I just carved all the bodies, and I just did like a time lapse, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, look at all that cork dust and stuff." And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
man, now, like you, just because I want people to see like what goes into it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
um, and it's not like a cookie cutter thing where like
No.
it's like, it's physical labor. and
Sure.
and like, I guarantee, so this index finger does, like, my computer has like like a finger reader thing to unlock it. It don't work no more. Like,
Yeah.
it's sanded off.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right. Yeah.
serious.
I got no
um
fingerprint.
I got no fingerprint. Everyone's like, "Hey, you want to go rob a bank?" I'm like, "No, I kind of
Yeah.
don't."
Yeah,
but
that's right. That's right.
but no, man, it's a great time. And people, they're like, "We don't know people do that." You know,
Yeah.
it's a kind of a lost art
Yeah,
too.
well,
So
it's artwork. That's what it is, and
yeah,
that's why it's custom. You know, it's I mean,
yeah,
you know, big large box companies or whatever. I mean, they can do a mold in plastic and make 1,000 a day, but there's no love in that. There's
yeah,
no art in that to the degree that it's just a press and a mold where you are putting
correct.
your hands on that. I'm sitting over here right now looking at. Hang on one second.
Be fine.
I This is a bow that I'm working on, and
Oh
it's
man,
a zebra wood. It's a zebra wood on this side, black on this side,
oh
fiberglass, and I'm
man,
I'm I'm still working on it. I've got a couple more days on it. But I look at, I just make these for myself, and try to hunt with them and kill deer with them and stuff. But man, I know what it took to get that right there. I mean, I did this right here in a sander, trying to
yeah,
do this right here. And so when you look at a custom bow that's made by somebody, and you look and it's like, oh, $1,000, $1,500. Well, I know why.
yeah.
I
I
know
mean,
why.
I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
was saying, I remember us talking right before we started, and you're like, yeah, you know, I make bows. I'm like, you make bows, man? Like, I would, like, that's why I feel like I was like, you're gonna paint, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
you're not smart enough for this, and I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
totally fine with that, because like,
Yeah.
just even making duck calls, man. When I was
Yeah.
in Palooza, these guys were like, they're talking about like what millimeters, like thousandths of a degree. I'm like,
Yeah.
I would just bore a hole right through that thing,
Yeah,
dude,
that,
and just I'm like,
yeah,
that's what it looks like to me, right?
yeah,
And what's cool, like it is art. Like those bows are like it's art, right?
yeah, yeah.
And and speaking of art, it reminds me of a story my wife said. She's like, hey, I remember the story where when God was telling Moses to build the tabernacle, right? Like sorry, excuse me, like the tent of meetings.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, get this silversmith and get this gold
Yep,
layer and get this,
yep.
and it's and she's like, that's kind of like what you do. Like you have this talent, and like those people use their God chose those people because he gave those gifts and talents to those people in order to glorify him. And so when someone walks in like the tent of meetings, like, man, who laid that gold or who did that
Right.
silversmith? It's like, oh yeah, so and so. And so like that's kind of what I think about it. And at the end of the day, like I just don't want to be, man, I don't want to be that one talent guy,
Yeah,
right? Like I don't want him to give me this gift and be like, what'd you do with it?
yeah,
Right? Like
right.
what'd you do with it?
Yeah,
And then I think to myself, I'm like, but it's a duck.
yeah,
Like it's a duck. And but it's like, man, who knows who you might encounter at an expo or at an event where, and even like these duck divas, dude, I don't know who they're reaching, but man, I pray it reaches someone, right?
right, right.
And so and I tell people, I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to be Duck Dynasty. I'm not trying to be anyone. I'm just a guy who loves a duck hunt, and I do this to support my family, and just to tell people about Jesus. Like
Yeah,
it's that simple to me, and I just want to use the gifts that He's given me.
yeah,
Like we all have gifts and talents, and like we were all made for a purpose. I tell people, like I did Diva, like this was made for a purpose, right?
right.
And just like we are, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds to me like, man, I mean, you're doing a good job with that. And I
no,
mean,
thanks.
I mean,
I'm trying.
yeah, it's just every little aspect that we talked about is just from the carving and how you trying to tell me about created in his image, and you were moved by that just thinking about that, because to me what that is you, God using you to make that, and you're looking at that going, he made me, like I'm making
Yeah,
this. I
man.
mean, like, wow, so I mean, you're 100% correct. God's given all of us a talent. He's given us gifts. He's given us a purpose, and we don't truly fulfill the best thing we can in life until we're doing that.
Yeah,
What it is that
yeah,
He's called us to do. I tell people this all the time. I thrive the most when I'm behind the pulpit with His Word open, proclaiming the message He gave me for that week. You know,
yeah.
I can do a lot of
Hey.
other things. I do a lot of other things, but when I'm there, that's like, this is what God created me for.
Yeah,
And same
yeah.
same thing for you. This is what God created you to do, and you're stewarding it well for His glory.
Thanks. No, I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah,
And I'm, kind of like you, because I would get ready, for the weekend, and like I would be dead dog tired. But once one kid stepped in, I would just get energized.
yep,
And so now it's different because now I'm like, God, like, what do you want me to talk about? Like, and like, there was I think it was a couple weeks ago, like I didn't do one, and I'm just like felt this burden, and I'm like, man, but I'm like, you didn't give me nothing. He's like,
yeah,
that's right, dummy, because I don't want you to say nothing right now. I'm
yeah.
like,
That's right.
okay, that's fine. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
And so,
yeah,
and the thing is, some people might ask this question, even listening to this, like, well, hey, what should I do? Like with my gifts, or what should I do? I don't make bows, or I'm not a pastor. I'm not this. Some people who might be listening to this might be a stay-at-home mom. I'm
yeah,
like, perfect. I'm like, use that time to pour into your kids at home
yeah.
and
Right.
make them little disciples.
Yeah.
Like pour into them. And some, like, man, don't downplay the stay-at-home mom. Like, first of
Mm-mm.
all, God bless them. I couldn't do it. And but the thing is, God's put them in that position to like give them all that time.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you have an opportunity. Or like someone at someone who's a CEO who's a Christian is like, why don't you guys pray before a meeting?
Yeah.
And or I mean, it's just the little things, right?
Yeah.
And man, and you're right. There is so much peace in that,
Oh yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
that's why I can get up every day, go out to the shop, and still love doing it because, like, man, God, like you've given me this,
Yeah.
and I don't know who this is for. I don't know who, I'm like, all I ask is that I display you well in this.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not the creator. I'm just creating what the creator made.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and that's just it. Everyone has something. And, people are like, well, how do I find out? I'm like, you need to think about what you're good at and go and do it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. 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 And you never know who you're going to affect, by doing what you do, you know.
That's just it.
I had a lady call me last week at church, and she was telling me a story about her husband, and he was just getting out of the VA hospital and all this kind of stuff. And she said he would like to meet with you, and talk to you about something. He's enrolled in Bible college, and he would just like to talk to you about
Wow.
certain things. I said, great. Excuse me. And then when they came to the office, and when she came in, I was like, man, I said, this lady looks familiar to me. I know I've seen her in town somewhere. And then we get to talking, and I'm talking to him, and of course she's sitting over there, and then uh, somewhere in the middle of the conversation, she said, you don't remember me, do you? And I said, I really, I really don't. I said, but you look really familiar to me, so I know I've met you. And she goes, I was in the dollar store one day. She said, and I was talking to you about my husband not believing, in
Uh,
Christ or whatever. And she said, and right there on the spot in the dollar store, you prayed for me. And
mm.
she said, well, this is my husband, and he's now saved. You never know, Mike, what somebody grabs that decoy and looks at that ictus and says, "What is that?"
Mm.
And the story gets told, and then you get to heaven one day and you look up, there this person is, and it's all because he saw
Yeah.
a masterpiece of a
Yeah.
decoy that was made by you that has that on the bottom of it, and the message of the gospel went out.
No, man. I mean, and that's and you're right. Like that's and that's all. People. It's funny. Like people strive. Like I would say Christians, which I was gonna do a duck devo on this. Like I was gonna title it. The last one I titled it like, "Can prostitutes go to church?" or something like that. I asked my wife. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna name it. Let's talk about strippers." And
Yeah.
she's like, I'm like, that would be a great. I would. I mean, that'd be a great one, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I said I wanted to do a duck deep on like, hey, I'm not a Christian anymore because
Mhm.
like people they're like, oh, you're because again the whole media and all this other stuff about being a Christian. It's like time out. Like it's like Catholics, right?
Yeah.
Or like you're a part of this organization. It's like
Yeah.
time out. I'm just a follower of Jesus. Like
Yeah.
I'm just a
Yeah.
disciple. That's who I am.
Yeah.
And and you're right. Like people like think like when I get to heaven, like all these mansions and imagine all the crowns. I'm like, listen, first of all, I just want to make it.
Yeah.
Second of all, I don't want none of that because I'm going to give it right back to him
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
Like, just put me down by the creek and give me a little tent, and I'll be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's right. Yeah.
flick me a ruby or a jewel, and I'm like, cool, thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
Like that's it,
Woo.
right? Woo! I mean, and that's just it. Like, people think like, oh, and I get this a lot. Like during duck season, like my beard's like down to here. Like I have a super bad cul-de-sac like on my head. My wife doesn't
Yeah.
want to like sleep in the same bed as me, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
and she's and but people are like, "What? You're a pastor?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
have you ever read about John the Baptist
Yeah.
running
That's
around in a
right.
loincloth? Like
That's right.
that dude was
Yeah.
paving the
Yeah.
way,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
That's
And
right.
so I'm just, and the thing is, like, I just want to be real. Like
Sure.
people, like
Genuine.
man, yeah. It's because sometimes whether you get the title of being a pastor and like when I first did that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's such a big responsibility. Like,
Yeah.
babe, we live in a glass house. Like we can't do this. We can't. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's not what this is about.
Right.
And and I always told the kids this. I'm like, I don't want you to look up to me. I want you to look past me to see who I'm looking up to,
Yeah.
because I will fail you.
Yeah.
And that's just it. I'm just a man,
Yeah.
and that's all I want to be. But I just want people to see like I'm a man who's looking
Yeah.
up to an even greater man,
Yeah. That's right.
and and that's just it, man. God. It's so funny. People who doubt God and people who um, do these things, it's just like, why don't you put them to the test? I'm like, if you've tried everything else,
Yeah.
why not
What you
try
got to
this?
lose? Yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I was preaching the other day, and of course I'll try to wrap up everything with this, but
yeah,
um uh and this applies to your situation, and just stepping out and doing it. But the whole Matthew 6:33, where seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you.
yeah,
And then
man.
the prior verses before that, he's talking about, you know, money, serving two masters. You can't serve two. You'll love the one, hate the other, serve the one, not serve the other. And then he talks about worrying about our physical needs and all these things. He's like, man, God takes care of the birds of the field and birds of the air and the lilies of the field. How much more so will He take care of us? And so that's
Man,
what
that's it.
that's it, man. You seek Him and His righteousness. He's gonna take care of it.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
may not have the mansion here on this side of glory, but He takes care of you. He takes care of us. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a say this to wrap this up too, like when I started this 5 months ago, I told God, I said, the money, the stress, the worry. I said, that's your problem. I
Yeah.
said, that's not mine. I said,
Yeah.
my issue and my problem is to fulfill the orders that you've given me, and I'm
Mhm.
going to let you take care of everything else. And I say this very humbly, and I say this to brag on God, not to brag on me, but dude, like we haven't gone without.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
we haven't gone without.
Yeah.
And sure, like yeah, some things had to change and things like that, but like there's food on the table.
Hmm.
My 9-month-old son's still getting diapers. Like
Hmm.
we're still able to afford daycare and things like that, and still give, right?
Right. Yeah.
And and now it's like I have that opportunity like be with my kids. I'm like, hey, you see that homeless person? I'm like, let's go buy them food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And things like that. And so it's because it's not mine anyways.
Right.
So unless I'm spinning out on like drugs and alcohol, like that's might be a little bit different story. God might
Right.
tailor some things back, but it's like it's not mine anyways. And
Yeah.
so and you're right, man. If God takes care of the birds of the air and feeds the mallards and feeds the deer and elk and
Yeah.
stuff, aren't we more important to
Yeah.
Him?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
right, brother.
Yeah. I used to when I There's a little saying I used to have. Excuse me. I'm kind of getting over the sickness, but
Very
it's
fine.
a little saying I used to have it. Um, and I still to this day, even though I'm not in vocational evangelism anymore, I'm just kind of at one church. But when I was in vocational evangelism, it was much like what you're doing with your decoys. You just depend on people to do orders. Well, I just depended on churches to call me to do revivals or come do speaking engagements, and you know, and then from time to time something would come in the mailbox from somebody at a church that was blessed by the ministry, and they would mail a check or something like that. So still to this day, Mike, I'm like, don't nobody check my mail. Y'all don't go check my mail because
Yeah.
to me, the mailbox is a place where God showed up when I needed Him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so. I
Mm.
even today, I don't get checks in the mail today because I'm pastoring now. I'm not doing it like I used to do.
Yeah.
But still to this day, I don't want nobody checking my mail, and I still remind people, God showed up in the mailbox for me so many times. The mailbox is a special place to me, brother.
Man,
Yeah.
well, it's an altar building moment, like
Yeah.
I tell people, right? Like
Yeah.
people get these altar building moments, like where we're like they cross the Jordan, and God's like build an altar, so you could tell your kids, right? And it's
Hmm.
things like that, and just I mean, I know we might be running long, but whatever. Um, so when we started this journey, my wife was like, like really, and she's like, dude, she checked the account like 15 times a day, even when I had a real like a steady job. And she's like, I saw you went and got, a drink or something, you know.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
love
yeah.
Topo Chico. Have you ever had Topo Chico?
Mm-mm.
Oh, bro, it's like a sparkling mineral water. Anyways,
Uh,
so there was one night where she was like sitting there doing, we were doing the budget and stuff, and she's like, well, how much should we tithe? And I said, you give God what's His, period.
yeah, yeah.
And so I went off to play with the kids or something, and she came back in and she's like, come here. I was like, yes. And she's like, we over tithe. I'm like, what did you say? I'm like, we over tithe. I'm like, man, that is that's funny, you know. And so it was like by $20 or some ridiculous. And so I said, so what? We probably owed it to him anyways. And so so I go back, right? I go back and play with the kids, and she's like, get back in here. And I'm like, what now? Like, I'm in a serious game
Yeah,
of like imagination with my
yeah.
kids right now. Why would you? So I go back in the living room, and she's like, hey, I got an email from our mortgage company. I'm like, okay. And she's like, our mortgage went down $500. I'm like, told you. I mean, it's just one of those things, like
Yeah, yeah,
one of those things, right?
yeah.
Where she was like
Mhm.
speechless. I'm like, can you do
Yeah.
that more often? No, I'm just
Yeah,
joking.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
doing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But,
Well, it doesn't add up on paper, but it adds up in heaven.
no, it does, and
Yeah,
that's that's just one of those things where it's like, well, how do you apply faith to your life? It's like you ask and you just do with the
yeah,
expectation of
yeah,
receiving,
yeah,
and if He doesn't give it to you, or if He doesn't do X, Y, and Z, then it was for a reason, and you should be okay with that.
yeah,
But that's just it. It's like that mailbox moment where it's like those little altar building moments in your life, and I
yeah,
love hearing that. That's
yeah,
like that is so cool. That's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah. It's good stuff. I mean, it meant a lot in our life. I mean,
Oh
it was
yeah,
life changing for us. And it's like you said, you when you step out in faith like that, and you really just depend on the Lord to do it the way He does it. There's things that change about your life. You know, there's
yeah,
the
sure,
lifestyle changes, and you're like, I can't go and do this all the time now or whatever, but
yeah,
I'm okay with that. But then
yep.
you watch God just constantly He just stays ahead of you, stayed it, and you're like, man, God, you so good.
Yeah, yeah, man, and isn't it? And then when it happens, you're like, the whole time you might be worried about something, or you might be like, how is this going to work out?
Yeah,
It's not going to, whatever. And then it does, and you're like, yeah, that's cool.
yeah, yeah. That's
You're
right.
right. You're right
That's
again. You're right
right.
again.
Yeah, yeah. It's like God. It's like
It's like, how did you know that was gonna happen,
Yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah. Well, Mike, man, it's been great talking to you, brother. We're gonna have to
Yeah, it's
do
been
this
a pleasure.
again.
Please, yeah, this has been
Yeah.
great.
We could just jump on here and not even do a podcast and just talk every
I'm,
now and then.
man, dude, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'll shoot you my number on the
Please
Instagram
do.
and we'll chat. Keep up.
Please
Yeah.
do. Yes.
I'll probably get a decoy from you too for my son. He's a big duck hunter,
Uh,
so I'll
that's
probably end
cool.
up doing that too. So yeah.
Cool. Cool. I appreciate that.
Give it to him for a birthday gift or Christmas gift or something. So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
Well, man, I'm praying for your ministry, bro.
Hey,
I
thank you.
and praying for because I consider that ministry. I mean, just
It,
using that for the
I,
glory of the Lord. So yeah,
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 that's what I mean, I'm not, I mean, and that's how I see it too.
yeah,
Like, yes, I
sure.
carve the decoys, but I carve the decoys for ministry.
That's
So
right. Yeah, yeah, and
yeah.
that's what it is. Well, I
Yes, sir.
appreciate you meeting with me tonight, man. It's been
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. I sincerely appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. If you get down to Louisiana at some point, you look me up.
Boy, I sure will.
You
I
get down
sure
there
will.
where the Duck Dynasty guys are, let me know, and
I,
I'm within 45 minutes.
oh
So
man. Oh, I will let you know.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you let me know. Okay. All
Thanks,
right.
brother.
You have a great night, man.
Hey, you too.
All right.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.